What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. 2016 is over and 2017 is starting, but what I want to do is talk about my top 5 Marvel books for 2016. So these are the story arcs, the real stories from an ongoing comic book or a brand new comic book that really kind of captured my imagination and really brought me back into the Marvel fray for the most part. So, on the top 5, we're going to start off at number 5, and I have Captain America Steve Rogers. And this is a book by Nick Spencer that really kind of set the world on fire with the first issue when it was revealed that Captain America was a member of HYDRA all along. The rewriting of Captain America's history really sent everybody up in arms over this entire thing, but what it did was it kickstarted a really great story that wasn't really derailed by Civil War II, and if anything, the storyline that Nick Spencer included for Civil War II only enhanced a really poor series. If we're talking about a series from issue number 1 all the way through to now, Steve Rogers' Captain America has been one of the best in Marvel's stable. In the number 4 spot, we have Old Man Logan, so that is by Jeff Lemire with art mostly by Andrea Sorrentino, and this has been a really interesting book because it's something that I didn't necessarily expect to enjoy as much as I did. And what it's really doing is it's telling another alternate history version of the Old Man Logan storyline that was originally pioneered by Mark Millar. After the events of Secret Wars, Old Man Logan has basically been dropped into this new environment, and he still has all of his memories of this past experience, but he is currently in modern day times. And what we do is Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino basically guide us along the path of Old Man Logan as he kind of goes out to find himself. And it's really a great experience, and the art is what makes it stellar. It's just one of those books that you kind of want to grab onto, and you want to pick a couple pages and you want to hang them on your wall. They're fantastic, and it's definitely something that I'd recommend for people that are a fan of Wolverine or Jeff Lemire's writing. It's highly recommended. Another book that Jeff Lemire makes on the list is number 3's Moon Knight. And Moon Knight is really interesting because Moon Knight is a character that has been a lot of different things for a lot of different people over the years. And what we see here is that Jeff Lemire really focuses on all of the multiple personalities of Mark Spector and sets him in a mental institution. And the mental institution isn't necessarily an actual institution. It could be New Egypt, and they could be under the influence of a god, and all kinds of stuff could be going on. However, what Mark Spector has to do is he has to come to terms with his own insanity in order to kind of move past all these individual things, and it's just hitting its stride as we get to Moon Knight number 10, and we're going to start seeing the origin of Mark Spector, the true origin that Jeff Lemire is going to be writing for the character. So I'm really interested in seeing where that's going, and I can't really recommend it enough. It's a great jumping on point for Moon Knight fans, even though older Moon Knight fans might not necessarily see it as the best possible story. It's one of those things that could be something for some and something for other people, but it's one of my favorites that's coming out right now. However, one of my real favorites has got to be number 2 at Doctor Strange. So Jason Aaron and Chris Bachalo have created a world around Doctor Strange that is impressive in scope and scale and high on style. So it's one of those things where if you talk about the first issue and the real introduction to magic, everything has a cost in terms of magic, and they're really setting the stakes for what really goes on. But what you get when you get to the Last Days of Magic, which is a fantastic story arc that shows the empirical and mechanical society that was really created to destroy magic across the multiverse, across all dimensions. And they come in and they start wrecking Doctor Strange's house, and he is desperate. He becomes basically the Indiana Jones of artifact collecting, trying to gather up enough magic to save all of magic across the dimensions. And it's just one of the most powerful stories, and currently we're in the middle of The Blood in the Ether, which is another great story that goes through Doctor Strange's Rogues Gallery. I highly recommend that if you have any kind of interest in Doctor Strange, go pick up issue number 1, go all the way through now, and just have yourself a great time. When it comes to honorable mentions, we're going to have to talk about the Marvel Now 2.0 issues, and there's a couple standout books that are really appealing to me right now, and that is Champions, which is a great teen tale. It hasn't quite got to enough issues where I can really call it one of the best of Marvel, but it's off to a great start. One of my favorites is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows from Jerry Conway and Ryan Stegman, and that is a really cool book because it's giving a lot of Spider-Man fans exactly what they wanted out of a Spider-Man character. It can easily become one of the best-selling books at Marvel as long as the consistency continues to be there, and Ryan Stegman's art is fantastic. Jerry Conway's an old hat at writing Spider-Man, and he's been cutting his teeth on Carnage for the last year and a half, which was a really good story, but pretty undersold. Definitely a recommendation for Renew Your Vows, and as an honorable mention for this. Also, Unworthy Thor, which is a really big book that's coming out from Marvel now, and it's telling the story of the Odin son as he's trying to reclaim the ultimate Mjolnir. And this is a book that's got people salivating for the next issue, and when the Unworthy Thor is going to finally attain his kind of worthiness, gather up ultimate Mjolnir, go join Jane Foster and Mighty Thor, which is another stellar book, and really kind of start wrecking house. This is an interesting one to watch and highly recommended for people who are fans of Thor. However, the number one story from Marvel is no real surprise, and that is The Vision by Tom King with art by Gabriel HYDRA. Whew, man, this book is just one of the best stories that I've read in a long time, and it's from a character that I really didn't expect anything from. The Vision is just kind of like this omnipotent being, because he can do anything that he really wants to at any point in time, but this is a story about an android trying to become more human. So what he does is he creates his own family. He creates a wife, he creates a son, he creates a daughter. So the story of Vision, Virginia, Viv, and Vin, it's just like ridiculous to see how this thing unfolds. And what you'd expect from these things is kind of like mechanical precision, but what we get is basically explosive chaos. I mean, I just can't recommend The Vision enough. The art is fantastic, and the story that it tells is definitely designed to be 12 issues. It was never really designed to be anything more than that, and you can tell by how quick, concise, and really well thought out this entire premise is. I highly recommend you guys go check out The Vision if you want a kind of oddball story that's going to leave you really entertained. So those are my picks for my top 5 Marvel books of 2016, but I want to know what you guys think too, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. Maybe you can make me some great recommendations that I can go grab on my own. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.